So if you landed on this video, you're probably interested in glamping, or you went down some weird 2 a.m. rabbit hole looking at glamping sites and just trying to see what the hell goes on behind the scenes. This is going to be a pretty simple video going forward, though. I'm going to talk about how much I made on my glamping site the first 3 months of 2024. A little different than most videos. I'm going to try this little trend where it's the no edits, basically YouTube video. The only thing I will switch in between is my computer, which has some small numbers that I'm not going to dive into too much, and then myself to talk about a few things and points as I go forward with it. We're just going to dive into it. If you do appreciate this type of content or anything, please subscribe and hit the like button for me. Leave a comment down below, letting the YouTube algorithm know that this type of content is appreciated, and I really do appreciate it from you because I need to know more of what y'all really want to know with this type of business going forward. We're just going to dive into the numbers, though. This is pretty simple. I said that, and it's probably not. So we're just going to dive into these numbers, not really try to go into a super ton of detail. But if there's anything you really want to know more about, let me know, and I'm just going to try to dive into everything. So this is my monthly little chart. I just made this. I have bigger charts that are a little more complex looking, but I'm trying to keep it simple since we're just doing this simple edit. My revenue monthly on 3 different structures. I guess I needed to lead with that. I'm assuming everybody's seen the channel before. I have a mirror house, I have a geodome, and I have a bigger ranch house, which is what's tied to the mortgage on the property I have on 11 acres near Houston, Texas. We've been fully open now for about 6 to 7 months with all of our structures, but we've opened up now for about a year and a half. The last few months, we've pretty much averaged about $25,000 in revenue each month. This is including cleaning fees, though. This is also including taxes. Everything that comes through the business, we end up, paying out for different reasons. That's just how our systems are working. Some people I know, remit the taxes through Airbnb for a few different reasons that I'll get into in a second. We don't do it that way. We take all the taxes back, and then we end up paying them out through our own county and our state. So $25,000 in revenue a month. That's about an estimate. I'm gonna go over to my expense chart because we do about $10,544 per month in expenses for the whole site, and I'm gonna get into those really quickly and just kind of show you my little monthly chart that I have. I'll flash up this screen as I'm talking now. So Vico, that is my security camera monitoring service. $15 a month. I did have Simply Safe. There's a few problems with their cameras. I ended up getting this company online. Pretty easy. I don't have an alarm now, but I have tons of cameras and some other sensors that pretty much keep the whole property safe for me. We have about 11 each month in trash, which I get charged $33 a month. I have 3 properties. I consider each one gets a trash can. It's kind of how I broke it up. It's about what my trash company charges. My PITI, this is my principal, interest, tax, and insurance. Each month is about $3,700 on the property. I do have a mortgage. That's how I was able to get the main house. That's the reason I put it under the main house expense. But this is we pay about $2,000 in property and principal and interest, and then we pay about another $800 a month in insurance and about another $400 a month in taxes, somewhere in that area. And my insurance and the taxes do keep going up. I'm working on finding new insurance. It's tough. There's only a few people that insure these type of things. I use proper insurance right now, and it seems to be the cheapest from everybody I'm talking to. I was getting, I'm paying about $9,700 now a year total in insurance. And so it definitely is something I overlooked a little bit. I knew it was going to be up there, but it just keeps going up. But that's part of the game. There's nothing you can do about it. You need to be properly insured. No pun intended. Anyways, so I don't have the cool edits to save me here. For my Wi-Fi, for just the house in particular, I pay about $100 a month. It kind of sucks, but we're working on it. My electric's about $400. I don't have a water bill because I'm on a water well. So hot tub, maintenance, small things there, about $200-ish. I pay my cleaner a little extra to help there, so that's that. Maintenance, about $250 a month, and just general wear and tear, random things. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Supplies, about $150 a month there. Breakage, things break. Sometimes I don't charge the guest. I just let it slide. I add it into there. Lawn care, it's about 100. Probably going to go. It goes up during the summer, goes down during the winter. But it's probably about 200 during the summer. But like I said, during the winter, there's some months I don't even have to get lawn care. Airbnb 3%. I don't do most of my bookings through Airbnb, as I'll show in a few. I will go into my revenue off Lodgify to show you some of these numbers. But I just added in there just to be safe and know it's in there. A little extra cleaning every once in a while. 25. I think it might have supposed to be maybe a little more. Probably put that to like 100 maybe, just because why not, right? Going on to the Geodome. I have Starlink internet there, 150, trash 11, electric's about 200. We have a propane stove down there, which I forgot to actually put that in the main house, but it's not, they don't use much propane at the main house, surprisingly. The mirror house is the one that uses a ton, as you'll kind of get to in a second. Propane's about 40 a month, firewood about 50 a month. I give out some free. I also charge for some. I'm working that model a little better. Hot tub, it's about 75 a month with all the supplies and extra things needed there. The hot tub at the house probably could be a little less, so I'm probably a little off. I don't know how I got to 200 there. Supplies 150, Airbnb fee about 166. Sometimes it's not there. Lawn, he comes and does it all at one time, so it's relatively low for the dome because it's a smaller area of land. The house is actually the more expensive one to do. Maintenance about 200. I also do have StayFi, which is like a little program only in the dome that collects users' emails when they sign up for the Wi-Fi. It's $15 a month, but it's cool. I'm thinking about getting rid of it, honestly, but it's so cheap that it's kind of whatever. But I have gotten some guest pushback on that. Mirror house, very similar. Starlink 150, trash 11, propane 60, a little more because there's a gas fire pit over there, which I don't have at the dome, and they run through it on that gas fire pit. So I'm trying to work on that myself. But it is my more expensive unit. So wood's about 50. Furniture, things, it's basically in the breakage area. Things don't break as much as the dome as the mirror house for some reason. I don't know what to say between stains and other things, but it's about 50 there. Supply is about 150. The Airbnb percent, I put it in there just in case. Because also at the same time, that's my credit card processing fee, basically, when I do it through my direct booking. Lawn, about 50. Maintenance, same thing. Then we go into just operating expenses in general. And the cool thing about operating expenses is they're a little higher for me right now. But as I grow and add more sites, these will get a little more, but they always get cheaper with the more you have, basically, because these are they expand very easily. So as an accountant, it's going to be I pay her $200 a month ish. It will still be cheaper when I expand and have more bookings because it's already kind of baked in. Our cleaner, it has our pay. This is for when I do extra deep cleanings. I sometimes don't charge the full amount on cleaning that my cleaner charges on a couple of the units, just because I think her time is worth more than what I want to put on the guest. I bake it into the cost of the property. But at the same time, I know guests hate the cleaning fee, so I try to keep it a little lower, just because I'd rather it be on the price, actually, and be the villain on the price in the taxes, which is easier to talk about than the cleaning fee, which guests just love to talk about sometimes. Not with me personally, because I keep mine low, but I see so many people complain about that. So we probably spend about an extra $400 a month there, give or take. But our team is awesome over there, so they deserve all of it. And I'm definitely appreciative of that. Business phone line, it's about $15 a month for this. Tax preparation, I pay it at the end of the year, but I put about $150 aside for that. My property management software is about $80. Marketing, we spend about $1,000 a month. I have plenty of marketing videos, and I'll make plenty more. I do think that's one of my strong suits. So if you do want to talk and do a consult over marketing or anything like that, feel free to book the Calendly link in the description. We can talk soon and then talk about how I can help you with some consulting going forward with your business. And I would love to help. I think I have a lot of insight I can provide for you. So gifts, $100. This is when I do small things in the thing. Like not long ago, somebody had a birthday. They didn't pay for an extra package. But at the same time, I just, they talking about how special it was going to be. So I still put a birthday cake, a small one in there. Like little things like that guests love. Other software, about $50. There's always random things I'm using, that Canva and other things that I'm not really putting here. TouchStay is my digital guide software or digital guidebook. I'm probably going to get rid of that soon because there's so many types of companies popping up. Lodgify has their own now, but I do like it. It is a really cool one. Laundry, about 400 a month. That varies some months. I pay my cleaner sometimes to take it off site and do it. The ranch house, we usually do it in the facility. So that varies a little month. And, there's also a little more wear and tear on the sheets than I expected here and there, but it's not a terrible expense. Price Labs, which is our dynamic pricing system to really maximize, it's worth every dollar, $47 a month for all 3 properties. I do have a golf cart that I was renting out a little bit, but then I stopped just because the liability scared me. I had them signing waivers and stuff, and there's just really, you don't want to disturb other guests. Some people were taking it off site onto people's land that I don't own. Like, it just kind of became one of those things where I was like, all right, I don't want to deal with it, but it's essential at the glam site for work for me personally. So it's about $200 a month. I think I paid $7,000, but I financed it with almost 0% through like 5 years or something. So relatively easy, but I could not do all the stuff I do as quickly without the golf cart. It's essential. I wouldn't rent it. There's, unless you have a massive property, like there's just where some things, I just do not trust guests on it. And they were riding wherever they wanted to. Even the best guests I had, they were still scaring. They would ride up to another site when, guests weren't there. And just like little things that you're like, all right, I don't trust you rolling around in a motorized vehicle on my land. So I thought it was a good idea and it definitely did well, but I ended up deciding not to. And I'm sure the insurance cost, like that I would have had to do renewing my insurance would have been higher. And I just personally decided it wasn't for me. I have an assistant that helps me with some things, about $500 a month. Some months she has a little more, some months she has a little less. And I do have an answering service that answers my phone line. That's kind of like a receptionist. I pay them $45 a month. Sometimes it goes over if I get more calls, but this just helps me weed out. I do my own property managing over there because I'm not far from it, and it also helps with the expenses tremendously. But as we grow, I bring more people in and helping along the way, and more handy people to really take care of some of the bigger things if I need to going forward. But I give a line out that's just my reception line. That way I know when people are calling about booking places, and if I have to answer it immediately or get back to them, I can. When I give my direct phone number out to guests that I know are in the property, that way they can call me, and if that phone rings, then I know that it is without a doubt something that I need to probably answer, because very few people will have my direct number unless you're actually booked and staying with us. So that's why, and it's very invaluable because I don't like talking on the phone, just being honest. It's not one of my favorite things, but my assistant answers some emails and other things like that. We do make a little profit off of selling packages, romantic packages with balloons and flowers and fake rose petal entries, birthday packages with cakes and balloons. We make a little bit on that, probably $600-700 a month total, maybe a little more. I'm hoping to get that up more, but it's definitely a work in progress. So that's kind of how we got close to that 544 number a month. It might be off by a couple dollars, don't judge me, but we'll keep going down to the next one, which is partnership. I do have a partner on the mirror house that takes a percentage of the profits. It usually averages about to that. I didn't have the cash after putting all the infrastructure into it. I didn't have the cash to even build and buy an outright unit right then. So I was able to partner with somebody. They take a decent little percentage, but nothing too crazy that I think is fair for what they invested into it as well. So I pay about that each month too, and the partnership's going great. We're making honestly more than anybody would have expected for that particular house and for them, which I'm happy about because I want to grow these partnerships as well. Hope I didn't get away from the mic too much. You'll be able to see it on the screen. So cleaning fees out of that $25,000, these are included in that revenue model. We pay about $4,500 a month total in cleaning fees. And that's not including the extra pay that we have. And then, it does vary some nights, some months it's a little more, some it's a little less, depending on if you have a lot of turnover. Like this month, we have our longest stay in the Geodome for 6 days. We have multiple 3 and 4 day stays. So our cleaning bill will be a little bit less this month, but we also did a lot of deep cleaning for the spring. So it's going to vary out. And then finally, we have taxes, which we pay about $3,000 a month in taxes total between the state and the county. We pay 6% to our state and 7% to our county. They are fleecing us with taxes, not going to lie, but here we are. What are you going to do about it? Taxes and insurance? You're really not going to be able to get away with, I've kind of seen. So The taxes earlier were my property taxes that I was talking about within my actual expenses, but these are just running an Airbnb hotel, as my county calls it, which most, every place is different. I'm paying 13% on everything I bring in, which I obviously pass on to the guest, but I do have to pay that out of my own pocket each month. And that's why I don't do it on Airbnb where I let them remit the taxes, because I also have the county 7% tax. And and in my software, the only way I can add both is to remit the tax back to me, instead of letting Airbnb send it. They don't handle the counties, they just handle the state. So my profit's about 4,000 each month. That's where we're at now. This is back with paying everybody back that I owe, paying out a few things too here and there that, are just kind of going into, CapEx and things that I hold off to the side, as we just ended up purchasing the liner for our dome, the insulation liner, which is about $8,000 even the past. So I continuously get any profit pretty much from this place and reinvest it back. I'm not making a dollar really off of this. I make, the equity that I build, and, I own a music studio. I still run the music studio and work out of it. That is my primary job. But I'm at the glam site quite a bit. I have a ton of help, which really, really helps me. If you're not in the area and you don't have a rock star team, it's going to be tough. I will. Guests always expect some really, really high level of expectation, and especially the higher price point you get. And, even the lower price points do expect have some weird sense of, entitlement to extra things. And you got to lay the law down on some things, but some things, especially if you're just starting out, you can't risk somebody giving you a bunch of bad reviews over something small that you might be able to fix. It's a subtle thing. Not subtle, but it's a thing that bothers me, that guests do feel like they have that much power over glamping owners and Airbnb owners and things. But it's kind of what the nature of the business we sign up for, because this is at hotels and anything in the hospitality business. I worked in restaurants for years. I have a hotel and restaurant management degree. I've seen this all for years. It's just very common. I was prepared for it. And you just got to remember that if you have a good 90% success rate with a lot of these guests, that says way more than your few bad guests that you get a few times. So don't get discouraged. Focused on the good ones. You're going to have some bad apples in there. I promise. There's not going to be anything you can do to make them happy. So I really just wanted to be transparent with this and, try this one take YouTube thing that I've seen a lot of people do lately. And I think it's, I know most of y'all are here for the numbers, and I'm not going to, bore y'all with some of these extra things sometimes, because I think y'all just want to know how some of these things really operate, that somebody is actually doing day to day. And this is a real clear picture of it. We've put a lot of money into this as well. As we keep expanding, we will become even more profitable every single month, and we'll slowly not have to buy some of these things that are considered infrastructure. We put a ton of equity from, everything we've built, even though the Geodome may not appraise. We're actually in the process of getting a new appraisal for the whole land coming up soon. I'll be very interested to see what happens with the Geodome. But as we go forward, we've added so much equity no matter all the cash we put into it, because we've been smart with what we put in. We put in, electric, water wells, septic systems, things that add real value to properties too. So if you're going fully off grid, sometimes it's a good way to start, but you might be spending a lot of money on something that if you're not successful in the STR, short-term rental, then you might not really get anything out of it. So if you build a cabin or something like that, or something that can add infrastructure value and equity value, I think that's personally the way to go, as you'll kind of see with our next builds. So I'm probably rambling at this point because I don't have the edits to save me, but I appreciate y'all for watching all the way through. I hope this transparency was exactly what you were looking for. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and until next time, I'll see y'all then. Peace.